Cleveland looks like they're very likely going to land LeBron James, and they want to trade for Bronny James.
After 8 years in Los Angeles, LeBron James just told the Lakers he is done, and the team chasing him hardest does not just want the king. They want his son too next to James Harden. But one quiet obstacle could blow the whole thing apart. The goodbye that started it all. The news landed like a thunderclap on a holiday weekend. For 8 straight years, the purple and gold had been home. Then, right around the end of June, LeBron told the Lakers he plans to play the 2026-27 season somewhere else, and the whole basketball world stopped to watch.
Breaking news out of the NBA. Our Shams Charania reporting that after 8 years, LeBron James...
He is not walking away from the game, he is walking towards something new, and what waits for him on the other side is a number no player has ever reached.
The NBA's all-time leading scorer will be playing a record 24th season in the NBA, but it will not be with the Los Angeles Lakers.
The message did not come from LeBron himself. It came through the one man who has stood beside him since the Akron days, his agent and childhood friend, Rich Paul.
Rich Paul, his agent, informed Rob Pelinka, the Lakers' president of basketball operations, that the Lakers can move on with their offseason because LeBron James is moving on with them.
Think about what that means. LeBron did not sit and wait for the Lakers to decide his fate. He handed the pen back to them and freed both sides on the very same day. This closes the longest stop of his career. 8 seasons in Los Angeles, a championship in the 2020 bubble, and the run that made him the all-time leading scorer in purple and gold. So why walk away from all of that? The answer is the same fire that has driven him for more than 2 decades. He still wants meaningful, competitive basketball, and he still wants to chase a 5th ring while the window is cracked open. Last spring ended in disappointment, and something in him decided the next chapter had to feel brand new. With his family behind him, he chose to bet on happiness over comfort, and that single choice set the entire league in motion. The Lakers, meanwhile, had already turned the page toward youth. They built around Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, and once LeBron told them to move on, they freed up roughly $50 million in cap space to reshape the roster on their own timeline. In a strange way, both sides were ready for a fresh start. Now, here's the part that makes this so wild. He is not leaving because he fell off. At 41 years old, he is still playing like an all-star. This past season, he put up around 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists a night on better than 50% shooting, numbers most players would kill for in their prime. So when reporters pushed on why a man playing that well would leave the team he just carried, the answer was not about a bigger check.
I'm told this is a happiness-led decision for LeBron James. He feels like he needs to find his happiness elsewhere.
Happiness, that one word flips this entire free agency on its head. Because when the goal is not money, the door swings wide open for almost any contender in the league. And this time, the way he can be added is completely different from the LeBron sweepstakes of the past.
The teams don't have to clear out a bunch of talent. They can load up their teams and say, LeBron, come be a value add.
That is the key. In the old days, the whole league would freeze while teams dumped salary just to fit him. Not anymore. He can sit back, watch every team build, and then slide into a finished roster as the final piece. The message to every suitor is simple. You do not win LeBron with a fancy tour of your practice gym or a slick highlight video. You win him by building a roster he can walk into and love. Fix your team first and the call will come. That is exactly why the smartest front offices spent these days chasing other moves, quietly turning themselves into the kind of place a champion would want to finish his story. And there is history on the line too.
No player in NBA history has won a championship with 4 different teams.
4 different franchises, 4 rings. That is a record that does not exist yet, and LeBron is the one man alive who could go chase it. So the phones lit up, and this was not a quiet inquiry from a team or two. 27 teams, nearly the entire league lining up to pitch the king. And Paul made it clear that for the first time in a long time, LeBron is doing this with no pressure and no rush.
Every day things change, and this is the first time that he's making a decision pressure-free.
The Lakers, for their part, kept it warm. Owner Jeannie Buss thanked LeBron for his 8 years and the 2020 title, and LeBron answered right back on his own terms.
No, thank you. Truly an honor to wear the purple and gold while trying to continue the greatness and legacies that came before me.
That is a man closing a chapter with respect, not a grudge. So where does it all point? A few names jumped out fast. Golden State had reportedly built a whole plan around pairing him with Stephen Curry, even getting Draymond Green to opt out to clear the way.
The Golden State Warriors had formed a grand plan going into this offseason.
Miami circled back too, with Pat Riley's old promise that a key was always under the doormat. Philadelphia jumped into the picture after loading up their roster. Denver dangled the dream of pairing him with Nikola Jokic, 2 of the smartest minds in the sport sharing one floor. Minnesota, the Spurs, and a handful of others all landed on the board as well. Rich Paul reportedly mapped out around 10 realistic teams and stressed that fit and happiness came first, money second, but one destination kept rising above the rest. And it was not about pure basketball math. It was about blood, history, and a city that never stopped loving him. The teams around the league kept connecting the same dots. LeBron was spending his free agency days back in the Akron area, hanging around his old high school teammates, one of whom now sits inside the Cavaliers front office. The pull of home was impossible to ignore.
Team and league sources indicate the Cleveland Cavaliers would gladly welcome LeBron James back into the fold.
Cleveland, the team that drafted him in 2003, the team he brought a title to in 2016. And now Mark Stein and Jake Fisher report a growing belief that a third Cavs stint is the scenario to beat. A storybook return to where it all began. Remember, he has already done 2 tours with this franchise. 7 years to start his career, then the redemption run from 2014 to 2018 that finally broke the city's title curse. A third act in the same jersey would be the kind of ending a Hollywood writer would call too neat to be real. But here's the twist almost nobody saw coming. The Cavaliers are not just clearing a path for LeBron. Behind the scenes, they are quietly holding a roster spot open for someone with the exact same last name. The son in the deal. To understand why this move is different from every other LeBron free agency, you have to understand the plan. Cleveland is running. It is not 1 seat they are trying to fill. It is 2.
Supposedly they want to keep open 2 roster spots, one for LeBron, one for Bronny.
1 spot for the father, 1 spot for the son. The Cavaliers are reportedly saving room so they can trade for Bronny James the moment LeBron signs. This is a package deal, and the reason is as much about the heart as it is about the roster.
To potentially lure LeBron there as like added incentive to lure LeBron to Cleveland.
That is the whole game. Bronny becomes the ultimate recruiting chip. Picture the pitch. Come home, chase a ring, and finish your career next to your son in the city that raised you. It is the kind of ending Hollywood would call too perfect to be real. And this is not a fantasy cooked up by a fan page. When Bronny was drafted 55th overall by the Lakers in 2024, he and his father became the first father-son duo to ever share an NBA floor. History was made the moment they checked in together. Now the whole league is buzzing that the duo could pack up and move as one unit, and the expectation is blunt. Wherever LeBron lands, Bronny is widely expected to follow as a package deal for family reasons. This is not the Lakers shipping out a role player and moving on. This is a father and a son being treated as one single decision, and Cleveland is the team building its entire summer around that idea. Let us be honest about who Bronny is on the court, though. He is a 21-year-old guard still early in his journey. This past season, he played sparingly, averaging a few points a game across 42 appearances, with time in the G League to develop. And do not forget the mountain he already climbed. Before he ever played a pro minute, he survived a frightening cardiac event that put his entire career in doubt. So every step he takes on an NBA floor is already a story of grit. He is not a night one difference maker. He is a young project with a real outside shot and a good feel for the game. Exactly the kind of low-cost, low-risk bet a contender likes to make. Scouts still see something worth waiting on. They point to his upside, his shooting touch, and the way he reads the floor, the traits that make teams patient with a young guard. He is not being brought in to be a star. He is being brought in to grow, to learn from the greatest, to ever do it up close, and maybe in time to become something real on his own terms. For a father chasing one last ride, though, Bronny is not a project. He is priceless. And we have already seen what happens when LeBron steps back into that Cleveland building. On his last visit, the crowd honored him, and the moment cracked open, something he rarely lets the world see.
My mom get to watch her son or grandson play in the NBA at the same time.
3 generations in one arena. Grandmother in the stands, son on the floor, grandson checking into the game. For a family that came up out of Akron the hard way, that picture is worth more than any contract. That same night, the Cavaliers played a video tribute, flashing images of a young LeBron back at St. Vincent St. Mary, and the cameras caught him wiping away tears he almost never lets anyone see. He even admitted it very well could be one of his last games in that building. That is the point in Cleveland. LeBron is not a visitor, he is family, and nobody understands that bond better than the people who have known him since he was a kid.
When you was a youngster, LeBron James is Cleveland. Yeah. He is the state of Ohio.
That is the emotional core of this entire story. This is the man who poured over $20 million into Akron through his I Promise program and school, who built his life and his legacy in that community. A homecoming with Bronny attached is not just a basketball decision, it is a legacy decision. Now, from the Lakers side, the math is simple, but it has teeth. Because Los Angeles fully guaranteed Bronny's deal, they cannot just cut him loose for nothing. Any move has to be a trade. And that gives the Lakers a chance to squeeze value out of it. Whether that is a second-round pick, a young rotation piece, or the flexibility to chase a bigger name for their Luka Doncic timeline. They control his rights, and they can play hardball. Some around the Lakers even argue they should think twice before letting him walk, since Bronny is one of the few young guards on the roster who can pressure the ball and keep growing next to Luka and Austin Reeves. So Cleveland will not get him for free. If the Cavaliers want the Sun, they may have to pay a real price to pry him loose, and that is one more knot in an already complicated deal. But here's the twist that keeps this story honest, and it is a question a lot of people are scared to ask out loud. Does Bronny even want this?
Bronny said several times he wants to carve his own path. He wants to be his own guy.
That is the tension at the center of it all. Bronny has spoken about stepping out of the shadow, about being his own player instead of a name riding his father's coattails. Some believe a little distance would actually be the best thing for his growth, letting him become the best version of himself without that giant shadow lurking over every shot. So there is a real world where the Sun says he wants to write his own story somewhere else. And this whole fairy tale never leaves the ground. Even some who cover the Lakers closely have said the same thing out loud. They believe Bronny should not be treated as an accessory to his father at all, that he has earned the right to be judged as his own player, on his own merits. The idea of him quietly telling his dad he does not want to chase him to Cleveland is not far-fetched. Some think it might even be the healthiest thing that could happen for his career. And there is one more speed bump nobody can wave away: geography.
His son Bryce is at the University of Arizona. His other son Bronny is on the Lakers. So Cleveland's a bit of a hike from there.
His wife and young daughter are rooted in Los Angeles. His middle son is in Arizona. Bronny, for now, is a Laker. Pulling all of that across the country for one more run in Ohio is a heavy lift, no matter how sweet the story sounds. So the emotional case is enormous, but it is not a lock. And even if every heart lines up, there is still one giant wall standing in Cleveland's way. Money, because the Cavaliers are already paying for one of the most expensive rosters in the entire league. So how do they fit both a father and a son onto a team that is already drowning in salary? The answer runs straight through one man: the Harden domino and the storybook ending. Everything Cleveland is trying to build hinges on a decision James Harden already made. And it is the kind of move that only happens when a player is chasing something bigger than his paycheck.
$27 million in the first apron cap space for the Cavs, but that's not with James Harden's contract right now. They're expected to re-sign.
Here's why that matters. The Cavaliers are buried deep in the second apron, the harshest zone in the new salary rules where teams lose their exceptions and lose the freedom to build. Their books are stacked with huge deals, more than $226 million already committed for next season. The second apron is basically a punishment box. Teams stuck there cannot combine salaries and trades. They lose access to most of their exceptions, and they can even watch future draft picks get frozen. It was built to stop exactly the kind of star hoarding Cleveland is trying to pull off. So at that level, adding anyone is nearly impossible, and to make any of this real, someone had to give something back. So Harden made a choice.
Harden has said that he'll do the same thing Draymond did. So he'll opt out and he'll sign a lower annual salary.
He turned down his $42.3 million player option so he could come back for less. By taking that cut, Harden helps the Cavs slide under the apron lines and unlock the tools they need to sign a player like LeBron for real money instead of scraps. And this is not a guess. The Athletic reported Harden is waiting to re-sign specifically to give Cleveland the flexibility to chase this exact dream. That is a superstar bending his own deal to bring a bigger star home. Harden is not the only piece already moving either. To clear the runway, the Cavs let rotation players walk in free agency, with Dean Wade reportedly heading to Philadelphia and Keon Ellis reportedly landing in Brooklyn. Every one of those cuts is a small step that adds up to real room. Cleveland is not hoping to get lucky here. They are engineering this, brick by brick. Now look at the roster it would create. Harden running the offense, Donovan Mitchell as the scoring engine, Evan Mobley locked in on his massive extension, and Jarrett Allen anchoring the paint. Cleveland built all of this after they traded Darius Garland and a second-round pick to land Harden back in February, dropped LeBron into that group, and as one insider put it, he would not even be the first option, he could be your fourth best player. That is a very different life than dragging a team on his back at 41. When Cleveland pulled the trigger on the Harden trade back in February, it was a loud declaration of win-now intent, the kind of move that sent their championship odds climbing. Team president Kobe Altman framed Harden as a piece to chase a title right now, not later add LeBron on top of that core. And Cleveland does not just become interesting. They could become the team to beat in the entire Eastern Conference. Some folks will tell you he is too old to matter now. The Cavs' own analysts went back and forth on it, but the truth kept winning out.
He's averaging 22, 6, and 7 at 41. He's still shooting 50%. That's higher than his career.
Still a top-tier player, and the recruiting has already started. Sources say Mitchell and Harden plan to pitch LeBron on joining them, leaning on old ties. Harden shared a 2012 Olympic gold with him, and Mitchell grew up idolizing him. Those bonds matter when the goal is happiness, and the money can absolutely work if LeBron does what he has hinted at all along.
You would have restructured your deal for a lower price, where now whoever's trading for you don't have to give up half the team. So
that is the whole trick. A team-friendly number, and suddenly the puzzle solves itself without gutting the roster. There is more than one road here. A straight sign and trade, a mid-level exception if the Cavs manage to duck under the apron, or the simple veteran minimum if LeBron just wants the jersey and one more real shot at a ring. Each path is narrow, but each one exists. The rules are strict, not impossible, and the people closest to this scenario keep saying the same thing.
There are absolutely 100% plausible ways to get LeBron James on the Cavs without destroying the makeup of this roster.
And the front office has quietly signaled it is open for business. Behind the scenes, Cavs sources say they would be amenable to a third reunion, and the reporter who covers LeBron closest laid it out plainly.
The Cavs would be amenable to a third reunion, a third stint, if LeBron was to sign as a free agent in the summer. Obviously, that would be a storybook ending.
A storybook ending, that phrase keeps coming up, and it fits. This is a player who was drafted first overall by Cleveland in 2003, left in the decision, came back with the I'm Coming Home essay, and ended a 52-year title drought in 2016. Closing the book where the story started, with his son beside him, would be a full-circle moment sports almost never gives us. But there is a shadow hanging over all of it. On his emotional return to Cleveland, when the tribute video played and the tears came, LeBron said the quiet part out loud.
I'm at a battle with Father of Time, and I'm kind of taking it personal.
That is a man staring at the end and refusing to blink. He has admitted he has not decided on his future, and that it very well could be his final run. Betting markets have even priced in a 30% chance he retires before the 2026-27 season. So even as Cleveland builds the perfect landing spot, there is a real chance the King simply walks away. And if that is where this is headed, plenty of people believe there is only one right place for the last dance.
Yeah, but I do believe that next year is going to be his final year. And in my opinion, it needs to be with the Cavs. It needs to be with the Cavs. He needs to have his farewell tour.
So here's where it all stands. Cleveland is holding two roster spots, one for LeBron and one for Bronny. Harden has cut his own salary to open the door. Mitchell and the front office are ready to roll out the welcome mat. And insiders keep circling back to the Cavs as the obvious destination, the scenario built for a fairy tale finish. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.